Emma stands frozen, unable to move as her heart drops into her stomach. The sterile hospital room feels like a world apart. The doctor's words cut through the silence. "I'm sorry. There's nothing more we can do." Her hands tremble as she reaches for the chair, barely able to hold herself up. Her gaze is fixed on Lily's still face, her best friend, her heart. The air around her is thick with grief, every breath sharp, as if the world itself is suffocating her. Tears fall silently, and time seems to stand still. A lifetime of memories floods her mind, each one more precious than the last, yet now irretrievably lost. She struggles to breathe, as if the weight of the world is on her chest. "I can't believe you're gone, Lily," she whispers, her voice barely a breath. Emma sits in the quiet hospital room, her hands clenched tightly together, feeling the weight of the silence around her. She hasn't moved for what feels like hours, unable to process the loss. She stares at Lily's still form, willing herself to wake up and make the nightmares stop. "How do I even begin to live without you?" she whispers, the question floating in the air unanswered. Her heart feels heavy, as though the grief is physically crushing her. Memories of their times together flood her mind, laughing over coffee, sharing secrets, making plans for the future. All of it is now a distant echo, fading with every passing second. The emptiness gnaws at her insides, threatening to swallow her whole. She feels lost, drifting in a sea of sorrow with no anchor to pull her back. Emma slowly rises from the chair, her body stiff and aching. She walks over to the window, looking out at the world moving on, while she feels stuck in a moment she can't escape. The sky is gray, and the clouds are heavy, matching her mood. "I don't know how to go on," she whispers, pressing her forehead against the cold window pane. She feels a wave of anger rise within her, not at anyone in particular, but at the cruel unfairness of life. Why Lily? Why now? She had so many plans left, so many things they had yet to do together. Her breath fogs up the glass as she fights the overwhelming urge to scream, to rail against the injustice of it all. But instead, she stands there, silent and broken, as the weight of her grief threatens to collapse the fragile walls she's built around herself. After what feels like an eternity, Emma forces herself to move. She picks up her phone, staring at Lily's contact name for a long moment, frozen in indecision. Her thumb hovers over the delete button, but she can't bring herself to press it. "I can't erase you," she whispers to herself, her voice shaky. The thought of losing even the smallest connection to Lily is unbearable. She scrolls through the texts they exchanged just days before. Words of laughter, plans for the weekend. Everything feels like a lie now. "Why did this happen?" she whispers again, feeling the familiar ache rise in her chest. The phone slips from her hand, landing softly on the bed, forgotten as her grief engulfs her once more. Emma finally stands and walks out of the room, but the empty hallway feels even lonelier than the sterile space she just left. The quiet hum of the fluorescent lights overhead does nothing to comfort her. Instead, it highlights the deep, gnawing silence that has settled in her soul. She heads for the elevator, but with each step, she feels more disconnected from everything around her. As the doors close, she leans against the cold metal wall, unable to stop the tears that flow freely. "I never thought I'd lose you, Lily," she whispers. She closes her eyes, and for a moment, she can almost hear Lily's laugh again. But it's fleeting, just like everything else now. The sound of the elevator descending is the only thing that fills the silence. Emma sits in the living room, surrounded by memories of Lily. The photographs on the coffee table, the little notes they used to exchange, all seem to mock her now, reminders of what she's lost. She picks up a picture of them at a beach, smiling, carefree. Her chest tightens as she gazes at it, and she can almost hear Lily's voice in her head, urging her to keep going, to be strong. "But how?" she whispers. "How do I keep going without you?" Her hands shake as she places the picture down, unable to hold it any longer. The silence in the room feels suffocating, and for a brief moment she feels utterly alone, as though the world has turned its back on her. Her grief is too heavy to carry alone. She needs to find a way to carry it, or it will bury her. Emma opens a box filled with items that Lily left behind. She picks up a small, worn-out notebook. It's something they used to share, a place for their dreams, their plans for the future. As she flips through the pages, the memories flood her. Plans for road trips, bucket lists, even silly goals they had set together. Her throat tightens as she reaches the last page, which has a message from Lily, written just days before the accident. "Don't forget to live, Em. Keep smiling." Emma bites her lip to hold back the sob that threatens to escape. "I'll never forget you," she whispers, but the words don't feel enough to honor the weight of her loss. She wants to scream, to yell at the unfairness of it all, but all she can do is sit there letting the tears fall. The phone rings, snapping Emma out of her thoughts. She looks at the screen. It's a call from one of Lily's friends. Emma hesitates, her heart racing. "I can't do this," she mutters under her breath, but the phone keeps ringing. She answers reluctantly, her voice trembling. "Hello?" she whispers. On the other end, the friend's voice is kind but distant, speaking about the funeral arrangements, about the wake. Emma nods absently, her mind somewhere else. "I'm so sorry," the friend says, but Emma feels numb. She can't focus on what they're saying. She can't seem to care about anything outside the heavy grief that's consuming her. "I can't even think about that right now," she says, her voice breaking, and she hangs up quickly, feeling guilty, but too overwhelmed to continue the conversation. Emma walks into a park, the one she and Lily frequented for walks and talks. The autumn leaves have fallen, leaving the trees bare and cold, just like Emma feels inside. She stands by a bench, the one they always sat on, and for a long time, she just looks at it. Her heart aches. The bench seems like a monument to all the plans they had made together. She sits down, her fingers tracing the familiar carved markings on the wood. The cool breeze ruffles her hair, but she doesn't feel the chill. She feels empty, hollow. The loss is too vast for her to comprehend. She clutches the notebook Lily had given her, now worn and fragile from years of use. "I don't know how to do this, Lily," she whispers into the wind, her voice barely audible. Emma walks through the city streets, her footsteps echoing in the emptiness around her. The hustle of the crowd doesn't reach her, and the noise seems muffled, as if she's in a world of her own. She walks past familiar places, each one reminding her of Lily. The cafe they always went to, the bookstore where they'd spend hours browsing. She stops outside a small art gallery they had talked about visiting together. She stands there staring through the window, her breath fogging up the glass. The tears come again, silent and steady. "I promised we'd see it together," she whispers, the words more for herself than for anyone else. Emma tries to return to work, but the task seems impossible. The weight of Lily's absence sits heavily on her chest, and no matter how hard she tries, she can't focus. Every email feels like an insurmountable mountain, every task trivial. "I can't do this," she mutters to herself, her eyes unfocused. Her mind drifts back to the days when work was a distraction from the chaos of life. Now, it feels like a cruel reminder of how much has changed. As the hours drag on, her exhaustion deepens, and she questions if she'll ever be able to move past this. But she doesn't know how to quit. After an hour of trying to work, Emma stands up and walks to the break room, her steps slow and heavy. She grabs a cup of coffee, but the bitter taste is lost on her. "I'm just going through the motions," she says to herself, staring at her reflection in the coffee machine. She can't shake the feeling that she's drifting through life, unable to find a way back to herself. She feels disconnected from everything, the people around her, the work she used to enjoy, and even her own emotions. "When will this numbness end?" she whispers, lost in her own thoughts. Emma stumbles upon an old journal of Lily's at home. As she flips through the pages, filled with scribbles of dreams and plans, a flood of emotions overwhelms her. She can almost hear Lily's voice again, the same voice that used to remind her to keep moving forward. "I don't know how to do this without you," she whispers through clenched teeth. The weight of the journal in her hands feels like a cruel reminder of everything that's been lost. She hugs it to her chest, letting the tears fall freely. "I'm trying, Lily," she cries out, "but I don't know if I can do it without you." Emma meets with her therapist, Dr. Patel, for the first time since Lily's passing. She's nervous, unsure of how to begin. "I feel like I'm not moving forward," Emma says quietly. "Like I'm stuck in this fog." Dr. Patel nods empathetically, encouraging her to share her feelings. "It's just hard to imagine moving forward without her," Emma continues, her voice breaking. "How do I live without my best friend?" The therapist reassures her that healing is not linear, that it's okay to feel lost. "I don't know if I'll ever be okay," Emma admits, the weight of the words making her feel even more fragile. At home that night, Emma lies in bed, staring at the ceiling. The weight of her grief is still unbearable, but something in her has shifted. She realizes that moving forward doesn't mean forgetting Lily. It means carrying her with her, in every step, every breath. "I won't forget you," she says softly to the empty room. "I'll carry you with me, every day." Her words are barely above a whisper, but they feel like a vow. She doesn't know how she'll manage, but for the first time in weeks, there's a small flicker of hope. It's enough to hold on to for now. Emma stands in front of Lily's memorial, the small park where they used to spend hours talking. The bench where they laughed, dreamed, and planned for the future now stands empty. "I don't know how to say goodbye," she whispers to the wind. The weight of the loss is still suffocating, but she knows she can't stay stuck in the past. She's been holding on to the memories, but they're fading, slipping through her fingers. "I'm trying, Lily," she says softly, looking down at the inscription on the bench, a gift from Lily to her. "I just don't know how to move forward without you." She takes a deep breath, gathering the courage to let go, just a little. After the visit, Emma walks down the street, her steps slow and deliberate. The world around her continues as if nothing has changed. She watches people laughing, talking, living their lives, and feels like an outsider. How do they do it? She asks herself, barely audible. How do they keep going without everything falling apart? Her mind keeps drifting back to the days when life was simple, before everything changed. She longs for those carefree moments with Lily, but those are just memories now. "I don't know if I can keep pretending everything is fine," she confesses quietly, the words more of an admission than a plea for help. She feels lost and uncertain. Back at her apartment, Emma tries to go through Lily's things. Each item feels like a relic from another life. She picks up a scarf, soft and familiar, and holds it to her face. "It still smells like Lily. How do I let go of you?" she whispers into the fabric. The thought of packing up Lily's things, of parting with the last physical traces of her, is unbearable. But she knows it's something she needs to do. Slowly, she places the scarf back in the box, her hands trembling. "This is so hard," she murmurs, the weight of the decision heavy on her heart. Letting go feels like betraying Lily, yet holding on feels like suffocating. Emma meets her friend Sarah for coffee, a rare moment of normalcy. "I don't know if I'll ever feel like myself again," she admits, staring into her cup. Sarah looks at her with concern, but doesn't know what to say. "You'll get through this," Sarah offers gently, but Emma isn't so sure. "How?" she asks, her voice thick with emotion. "How do I keep going when everything feels broken?" Sarah reaches across the table, taking her hand in hers. "You don't have to do it alone," Sarah says quietly. "I'm here for you." Emma nods, feeling the comfort of her friend's words, but still unsure if she can ever truly heal. Later that evening, Emma goes for a walk by the water, the cool night air filling her lungs. She gazes out at the dark, rippling water, trying to find some peace in the stillness. "I miss you so much," she says, her voice barely audible. "I don't know how to keep going, but I know I have to." For the first time in weeks, she feels a slight shift within her, a realization that she doesn't need to have it all figured out right now. "I'm allowed to hurt," she whispers, her voice steady, "and I'll let myself heal, little by little." As the moonlight reflects off the water, she takes a deep breath, feeling the weight of her grief, but also a glimmer of hope. The weight of grief still hangs heavily on Emma, but something within her is beginning to shift. Sitting in the park where she and Lily used to talk for hours, Emma reflects on their friendship and the space Lily still occupies in her heart. "I'll always miss you," she whispers softly to the wind. But now there's a sense of acceptance. You taught me so much, Lily. I need to keep moving forward for you, for both of us. She closes her eyes, allowing herself a moment of peace. It's not that the pain is gone, it's that she's finally accepting it, learning to live alongside it. I'm learning to live again, she says with a small, bittersweet smile, knowing that the journey is far from over. As the weeks pass, Emma starts to take small steps toward reclaiming her life. She returns to work, pushing through the initial unease. It's not the same without you here, she says under her breath, looking at her old desk, which once belonged to Lily. It's still difficult, but there's a small spark of determination in her. She feels Lily's presence beside her as she faces the challenges ahead. I don't know how to do this without you, but I'll try, Emma admits, trying to steady herself. The emptiness is still there, but it no longer consumes her every waking moment. Slowly, she's finding her footing. Emma takes a trip to the beach, a place she and Lily had often visited together. The sound of the waves crashing against the shore is a reminder of the peace they used to find here. This was our place, Emma says softly, the wind tugging at her hair. As she walks along the water's edge, the memory of their laughter fills the silence. She's not letting go of those memories. She's learning to hold them in a way that doesn't hurt as much. I can still feel you here, Emma whispers to the ocean, and I'll carry that with me. For the first time in a long while, Emma feels connected to Lily in a way that feels healing, not heartbreaking. Emma sits with Sarah in a cafe, their laughter filling the air for the first time in months. It's not the same as it once was, but it's a start. I'm not okay yet, Emma admits, but I think I'm getting there. Sarah smiles, offering her support without words. Emma still feels the emptiness of loss, but it's not consuming her anymore. I can't bring Lily back, Emma says quietly, but I can keep living, for both of us. The weight of her grief is still there, but now it feels manageable. For the first time in a long while, Emma believes in the possibility of healing. The following morning, Emma wakes up early, the sun casting a soft light through her window. She stands in front of the mirror, looking at herself for the first time in months. I'm still here, she says softly, a quiet but powerful realization. The woman in the mirror is not the same as before, but she's still standing. I'm learning to live again. Emma takes a deep breath, feeling a sense of peace she hasn't felt in a long time. The grief isn't gone, but it no longer defines her. She smiles faintly at her reflection, ready to face the day, knowing that the road to healing is long, but she's no longer walking it alone. Emma sits on a park bench, her hands resting on her lap, feeling the breeze rustle the leaves around her. The sun is low in the sky, casting a golden glow across the pond. I never thought I'd feel at peace again, she says softly, her voice steady. She gazes out at the trees, remembering the pain that once seemed endless. But somehow, I'm here. She lets out a deep breath, feeling the weight lift off her shoulders, even if just a little. I miss you, Lily, Emma continues, a tear slipping down her cheek. But I'm learning to live without you. The ache in her heart hasn't gone away, but now it feels more like a scar. A reminder that she survived, that she's still moving forward. Emma walks through the streets of the city, feeling a sense of lightness she hasn't felt in months. The chaos of the world around her no longer feels like a weight on her shoulders. I'm still healing, she reflects quietly, but it doesn't hurt as much anymore. She passes a cafe they used to frequent, the memories flooding her mind. I've changed, Lily, she says, pausing to look at the familiar spot. I'll always carry you with me, but I'm finding my way. She smiles softly, the ache of loss still there, but tempered with the knowledge that she's no longer drowning in it. For the first time in a long time, Emma feels a glimmer of hope. Emma sits with Sarah in their favorite park, the one she hadn't visited in months. I think I'm ready to take the next step, she confesses, her voice filled with a newfound sense of clarity. I'm ready to live fully again. Sarah looks at her with admiration, her smile warm. I'm proud of you, Em, Sarah says softly. You've come so far. Emma nods, feeling the weight of Sarah's words. It's not easy, Emma admits, but I'm learning that I don't need to have all the answers. I just need to keep going. The air around them is filled with the rustling of leaves, and Emma feels a quiet satisfaction in knowing she's no longer stuck in the past. Later that day, Emma stands at the edge of a bridge overlooking the flowing river. The sunset paints the sky in shades of orange and pink. She takes a deep breath, feeling the fresh air fill her lungs. I've been so afraid of moving on, she reflects, her voice barely above a whisper. But I think I'm finally ready to let go of the fear. She watches the water flow, feeling a deep sense of connection to the constant movement of the world around her. I'm ready to face whatever comes next, she says, her gaze unwavering as she watches the river disappear into the horizon. The fear has been replaced by a quiet strength, and for the first time in a long while, Emma feels at peace. Emma walks back to her apartment, the city lights twinkling around her. She passes by familiar places, but this time they don't feel like reminders of what she's lost. Instead, they feel like signs of a future she's starting to reclaim. I'm still healing, but I'm no longer defined by my grief, she says quietly to herself. I can smile again, I can laugh again, and I can dream again. She takes a deep breath, feeling a quiet sense of pride in how far she's come. It's not about forgetting, Emma reflects. It's about living in a way that honors everything we were and everything I've become. She smiles softly, the city around her alive with possibility. Emma stands at the edge of a cliff, overlooking the vast expanse of the ocean below. The wind tugs at her hair, the salty air filling her lungs as she takes in the beauty of the scene. I never thought I'd make it this far, she whispers. She had felt lost, swallowed by grief, but now she feels something else, peace. You would have loved this view, she says softly, a small smile tugging at her lips. I'm finally starting to believe that I can move forward. The sun is setting, casting warm, golden hues across the sky. Emma watches as the light dances on the water, feeling the weight of the past lifting bit by bit. The journey is far from over, but she knows she's on the right path. Back at home, Emma looks through a photo album filled with memories of her and Lily. We had so many plans, she murmurs, flipping through the pages. The weight of the loss still lingers, but there's a new understanding. I'll always carry you with me, she says, placing her hand gently on the photo of them together. The tears don't come like they once did. Instead, a quiet gratitude fills her heart. You'll always be my best friend, and I'll never forget the love we shared. She pauses, taking a deep breath, knowing that it's okay to move forward while still honoring the past. I'll make the most of every moment, she promises, her voice filled with quiet resolve. Emma sits with Sarah at their favorite cafe, a place they hadn't visited in months. It's hard to believe that I've come this far, she admits, stirring her coffee absent-mindedly. I thought I'd never be able to laugh again, but here I am. Sarah smiles warmly, her eyes filled with pride. You've been so strong, Em, she says. Emma smiles back, her eyes softening. I've had to learn how to live with the pain, not push it away, she reflects. It doesn't control me anymore, and I'm finally finding a balance. The cafe is busy, but the quiet moment between them feels sacred, a testament to Emma's growth. I'm still healing, Emma says, but now I believe it's possible. Emma stands at the foot of a hiking trail, looking up at the path ahead. She hesitates for a moment, then takes a deep breath. I'm ready to take this step, she says to herself, her voice full of conviction. She had always been afraid of the unknown, of what might lie ahead, but now, she feels ready to face whatever comes. I don't have to have it all figured out, she reflects. I just need to keep moving forward. With that thought, she begins walking up the trail, her steps steady and sure. The road ahead is long, but for the first time, Emma feels like she's walking towards something, not away from it. Emma stands at the edge of the same beach where she had once come to terms with her grief. This time, however, she stands with a sense of peace. I've learned to live with the memories, she says softly, gazing out at the waves crashing against the shore. They'll always be with me, but they don't control me anymore. She watches the sunset paint the sky in vibrant hues of pink and purple, feeling the weight of the past, but no longer allowing it to define her. I can't change what happened, she reflects, but I can choose how I move forward. With that thought, she takes a deep breath, ready to embrace whatever comes next, knowing that the journey will always be a part of her.